Okay, so today we're going to do our second reading of the short story 11 by Sandra Cisneros. And as we're reading the story, when we read a second time, we really want to be reading this time when we want to really be analyzing the story and analyzing the character and the conflict and those elements of fiction that we've been learning over the last month. So today, you're going to please follow along in your Go Formative text as I read aloud to you. And you're going to listen to get a sense of the story and to enjoy it like we did yesterday. And I'm going to ask you to be thinking about a favorite line from the story, any words or phrases or lines that ring true to you, anything that you can relate to. Continue to grow those ideas around relating to character because those text to self connections will help you remember the text even more. So today also, even though the story doesn't have any difficult words in it, it has a lot for us to be thinking about. There's a lot packed into each line in this story, which is one of the reasons why we're covering it. I just love the way that Sandra Cisneros words so much in such a short amount of a story. So as I'm reading it today for a second time, I want you to follow along with me and kind of read it along in your head. And as I'm reading, I'm going to pause periodically and I'm going to have you complete mini tasks. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you working almost as a reading detective. And what you're going to be doing is I'm going to read, and as I read, I'm going to get to a point where you're going to have a question in your Go Formative. It's going to ask you to lift a line. And basically what that is, we've covered lift a line, but basically what it is you are going to need to find the answer to the question in the text, and you're going to need to find that one sentence from the text that answers the question. I do not want you answering the question in your own words. I do not want your words. I want Cisneros's words. So every time I read and I pause, you're going to go to that paragraph, you're going to find the line that answers the question that I'm asking you, and then you're going to type it into your Go Formative. So we're going to be reading, and it's going to kind of be chunky today. You're going to hear my voice rereading, and you're going to hear me sort of signaling when you need to do the lift a line and when we're preparing to move on. So make sure that when we are moving on, you stop what you're doing, find your place in the text, and continue to follow along. There will be time at the end for you to continue going should you need to. Okay? What they don't understand, 11 by Sandra Cisneros. What they don't understand about birthdays and what they never tell you is that when you're 11, you're also 10 and 9 and 8 and 7 and 6 and 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. And when you wake up on your 11th birthday, you expect to feel 11, but you don't. You open your eyes and everything's just like yesterday, only it's today. And you don't feel 11 at all. You feel like you're still 10. And you are, underneath the year that makes you 11. Like some days you might say something stupid, and that's the part of you that's still 10. And maybe some days you might need to sit on your mama's lap because you're scared. And that's the part of you that's 5. And maybe one day when you're all grown up, maybe you will need to cry like if you're 3, and that's okay. That's what I tell mama when she's sad and needs to cry. Maybe she's feeling 3. So at this point, I want you to stop your reading and I want you to go back to paragraph number 2. And I want you to find a line, lift a line that explains how Rachel feels at each individual age. How does she describe each individual age? Specifically, you're looking for age 3. So please do that now. Okay, great. Now we're going to keep reading because we're going to keep going on, and we're going to continue to stop with each line. There's a lot of stops in the beginning because Cisneros packs a lot right into the beginning. Because the way you grow old is kind of like an onion, and like the rings inside a tree trunk, or like my little wooden dolls that fit one inside the other, each year inside the next one. That's how being 11 years old is. I'm going to stop again. Right now, on your Go Formative, you're going to see a question in the margin. I want you to lift a line and lift one of the similes in paragraph number 3 that Cisneros uses to describe aging. Please do that now. Okay, great. I'm going to keep moving on. Paragraph number 4. You don't feel 11, not right away. It takes a few days, weeks even, sometimes even months before you say 11 when they ask you. And you don't feel smart 11, not until you're almost 12. That's the way it is. Only today I wish I didn't have only 11 years rattling inside me like pennies in a tin Band-Aid box. Today I wish I was 102 instead of 11. Because if I was 102, I'd have known what to say when Mrs. Price, put the sweater on my desk. I would have known how to tell her it wasn't mine instead of just sitting there with that look on my face and nothing coming out of my mouth. So at this point, I would like you to lift a line that tells you, why does Rachel wish she were 102 years old? What line in paragraph 4 tells you what she would have known or why she wishes she was 102? Please lift that line now. All right, we're going to keep moving on. We're at paragraph 6 now. Whose this? Mrs. Pierce says, and she holds the red sweater up in the air for all the class to see. Whose? It's been sitting in the coat room for a month. Not mine, says everybody. Not mine. It has to belong to somebody, Mrs. Pierce keeps saying, but nobody can remember. It's an ugly sweater with red plastic buttons and a collar and sleeves all stretched out like you could use it for a jump rope. It's maybe 1,000 years old, and even if it belonged to me, I wouldn't say so. Maybe because I'm skinny, maybe because she doesn't like me. That stupid Sylvia Saudivar says, I think it belongs to Rachel. An ugly sweater like that, all raggedy and old? But Mrs. Price believes her. Mrs. Price takes the sweater and puts it right on my desk. But when I open my mouth, nothing comes out. That's not, I don't, you're not mine, I finally say, in a small voice that was maybe me when I was 4. Of course it's yours, Mrs. Price says. I remember you wearing it once. Because she's old and the teacher, she's right, and I'm not. So we're going to stop again at paragraph number 10. And right now I want you to lift a line that tells you, why doesn't Rachel go any further and correct the teacher? I want you to lift the line that tells you why she doesn't correct the teacher or go any further with it at this point. Do that now. All right, we're going to keep moving. We're going to get on to paragraph 11. Of course it's yours. Excuse me, 11, yeah. Not mine, not mine, not mine. But Mrs. Pierce is already turning to page 32 in math problem number 4. I don't know why, but all of a sudden I'm feeling sick inside. Like the part of me that's 3 wants to come out of my eyes. Only I squeeze them shut tight and bite down on my teeth really hard and try to remember today that I am 11. 11. Mama is making a cake for me tonight. And when Papa comes home, everybody will sing happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. But when the sick feeling goes away and I open my eyes, the red sweater's still there, like a big red mountain. I move the red sweater to the corner of my desk with a ruler. I move my pencil and books and eraser as far from it as possible. I even move my chair a little to the right. Not mine, not mine, not mine. So at this point, after paragraph number 12, I want you to stop and I want you to think about and lift a line that tells you, what does Rachel want to do with the raggedy old sweater? What does she wish she can do? What does she do with the raggedy old sweater? Please lift a line right now. All right, moving on. Paragraph number 13. In my head, I'm thinking how long till lunchtime? How long till I can take the red sweater and throw it over the schoolyard fence and leave it hanging on a parking lot meter? Or bunch it up into a little ball and toss it into an alley. Except when math period ends, Mrs. Price says loud in front of everybody, "Now, Rachel, that's enough," because she sees me shoving the red sweater to the tippity-tip corner of the desk, and it's hanging all over the edge like a waterfall, but I don't care. Okay, so there's some more things she may have done with the sweater. If you didn't get that answer in the last paragraph, you may choose one of those lines from paragraph 13. "Rachel," Mrs. Price says. She says it like she's getting mad. "You put that sweater on right now and no more nonsense." "But it's not." "Now," Mrs. Pierce says. "This is when I wish I wasn't 11. Because all the years inside me, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, are pushing at the back of my eyes when I put one arm through one sleeve of the sweater that smells like cottage cheese and then the other arm through the other and stand there with my arms apart like if the sweater hurts me, and it does, all itchy and full of germs that aren't even mine. That's when everything I've been holding in since this morning, since Mrs. Price put the sweater on my desk, finally lets go. And all of a sudden I'm crying in front of everybody. I wish I was invisible, but I'm not. I'm 11, and it's my birthday today, and I'm crying like I'm 3 in front of everybody. I put my head down on my desk and bury my stupid clown sweater arms, my face all hot and spit coming out of me until there aren't any more tears left in my eyes. And it's just my body shaking like when you have the hiccups, and my whole head hurts like when you drink milk too fast. But the worst part is right before the bell rings for lunch, that stupid Phyllis Lopez, who is even dumber than Sylvia Saldivar, says she remembers the red sweater is hers. I take it off right away and give it to her, only Mrs. Pierce pretends like everything's okay. I'm going to stop again. You're reading detectives. I want you to lift the line that tells you exactly who owns that ugly red sweater. Lift the line that tells us who the owner of the red sweater is. Please do that now. All right. Line or paragraph 19. We're getting to the end. Today I'm 11. There's a cake Mama's making for tonight, and when Papa comes home from work, we'll eat it. There'll be candles and presents, and everybody will sing happy birthday. Happy birthday to you, Rachel. Only it's too late. I'm 11 today. I'm 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. But I wish I was 102. I wish it was anything but 11, because I want today to be far away already. Far away like a runaway balloon, like a tiny O in the sky. So tiny, tiny, you have to close your eyes to see it.